Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive that's both delicious and kinda disastrous?
Oh, it sounds intriguing.
Today we're exploring a story from the Liat Show about a culinary mishap.
Oh.
Yeah, involving a traditional Israeli pastry called borekas.
Borekas. Now, those are good.
Some of you might be borekas aficionados already.
Right.
If so, this deep dive will offer a fresh perspective.
I'm sure it will.
But if you're like me,
Yeah.
and the name borekas doesn't really ring a bell,
Okay.
don't worry, we'll get you up to speed.
Sounds good. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what can you tell us about borekas? For those of us who have never had one.
Oh, borekas. They have a fascinating history.
Yeah.
They originated in Turkey,
Mm,
but they become a staple in Israel and across the Mediterranean.
really?
Yeah. So imagine like a flaky,
Okay.
savory pastry
Okay.
filled with anything from cheese and spinach to like spiced meat.
Oh, wow.
This is really versatile. You can
Mm.
enjoy it throughout the day.
Okay.
Almost like a delicious handheld comfort food.
Now I'm getting hungry.
Right. So in this story, we meet Liat,
Okay.
who is an Israeli woman living in San Francisco. And she decides to host a borekas brunch for her friends,
That's nice.
a lot of whom haven't really had borekas before.
Makes sense.
And you can feel this like excitement building.
Oh, yeah.
Liat's seeing this as more than just a meal.
Right.
It's an opportunity for her to share her culture and heritage through food.
Yeah, I love that.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, food has this amazing ability to transcend borders and create connections.
I agree.
Sharing a traditional dish, it's like offering a glimpse into your cultural identity.
Ah,
It invites conversation and fosters understanding
Yeah.
in a way that words sometimes can't.
totally.
Yeah.
And Liat, she doesn't hold back on the preparations.
Good for her.
We're talking sourcing frozen borekas from an Israeli grocery store
Wow.
all the way in Oakland.
Talk about dedication.
Talk about dedication.
Yeah.
She's boiling eggs, slicing vegetables.
And even practicing how she'll explain the history and cultural significance of borekas to her friends.
That's great. It's fascinating how much weight we often attach to these culinary experiences.
I know, right?
Like, Liat clearly wants to create a perfect representation of her culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like the success of the entire brunch hinges on these borekas.
Oh, totally. So now picture this.
Okay.
The moment of truth has arrived.
Right.
The borekas are baked to a perfect golden brown.
They look beautiful.
Ready to impress. Liat's about to unveil this like culinary masterpiece.
Okay.
And then bam, disaster strikes.
Uh-oh. What happened?
Oh, no, right?
This is where it gets interesting. Even with the best intentions and meticulous planning,
Right.
things can go hilariously wrong in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I think anyone who's ever hosted a gathering can relate to that feeling of pressure to perform,
Mm-hmm.
to create a flawless experience.
Oh, absolutely.
And when things go off script, it can feel like a personal failure.
Yeah, I've been there. So Liat realizes with a sinking heart that she forgot to oil the foil on her baking tray.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and all the borekas are completely stuck, just a mangled mess.
Oh, that's awful.
And she describes this feeling of wanting to disappear,
Oh, my gosh.
like a wave of embarrassment and despair washing over her as her carefully orchestrated brunch crumbles before her eyes.
Oh, I feel so bad for her.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in.
It really speaks to that emotional connection we have with food,
Yeah.
especially when sharing it with others.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about serving a delicious meal.
Right.
It's about presenting a part of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
your heritage, and your skills as a host.
Yeah,
So when something goes wrong, it can feel like you're letting everyone down,
totally.
not just yourself.
You're letting your ancestors down.
Exactly,
It's
the
like-
entire culture.
Yes. It's almost as if the borekas in this moment become like a symbol of Liat's connection to her culture. Mm-hmm. And their unfortunate state reflects a sense of personal inadequacy.
Oh, yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah. It's like this culinary mishap just becomes magnified in her mind,
Right.
representing something much larger than just a cooking mistake.
Absolutely. And this idea of food as a cultural symbol
Uh-huh.
is prevalent in so many societies.
Right.
Think about like traditional holiday meals
Right.
or family recipes passed down through generations.
Mm-hmm.
These dishes often carry a weight of history, tradition, and familial connection,
Yeah.
making their preparation and presentation all the more significant.
It makes you wonder how many of us have experienced these like mini crises in the kitchen.
Totally.
Feeling like we've somehow let down our culinary ancestors.
Oh, absolutely. But back to Liat's story.
Yeah.
Despite the setback,
Okay.
she tries to salvage the situation,
Good for her.
scraping off what she can of the borekas,
Okay.
serving them in pieces,
Right?
and trying to make light of the mishap.
Okay.
She even quotes her mother saying, "It all mixes in the stomach,"
Oh, that's great.
which I find endearing.
Look at that classic pragmatic approach.
Right.
Right.
Don't sweat the small stuff, especially when it comes to food.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you can sense that, like, deep down, Liat is still crushed.
Oh, yeah.
She worries that her friends who are mostly experiencing borekas for the first time will now have this, like, negative perception of Israeli cuisine.
Oh, no.
It's like she's internalized this responsibility for representing her culture through food,
Right.
and she's afraid she's failed.
There's this vulnerability in her reaction that I think a lot of us can relate to.
Sure.
You want to share something you love, something that's meaningful to you.
Right.
And the fear of misrepresenting it or having it be rejected can be incredibly powerful.
Absolutely. And she even calls her mother afterward in tears,
Oh.
which shows just how deeply this affected her.
Yeah.
And get this, years later, she still remembers this event vividly,
Wow.
referring to it as the borekas betrayal.
The borekas betrayal.
It's amazing how certain food-related experiences can stay with us for years,
They really do.
shaping our memories and even our perceptions of ourselves.
It makes you wonder, what makes these culinary memories so potent?
Yeah, no, right?
Is it the sensory experience itself?
Yeah.
The tastes, the smells, the textures?
Uh-huh.
Or is it the emotional context in which we experience them?
Yeah.
Perhaps it's a combination of both.
Right.
We associate food with specific people, places, and events, and those connections can evoke powerful emotions and memories years later.
Like Proust and his Madeleines.
Exactly.
Right. A single bite can transport you back to a specific time and place.
Yes.
Unlocking this flood of emotions and memories.
And in Liat's case, the borekas betrayal becomes a cautionary tale.
Right.
A reminder to always oil that foil.
A lesson learned the hard way, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
But beyond the humor of the situation, Liat's experience offers some valuable takeaways.
Okay.
She talks about the importance of prepping in advance,
Okay.
having those key components ready to go
Yeah.
so that even if something goes wrong at the last minute.
It doesn't derail the entire event.
It's that classic mise en place principle.
Yeah.
Right. Having everything chopped, measured, and organized before you even start cooking.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
It's about being prepared, anticipating potential problems, and having backup plans in place.
Exactly.
It's a valuable life skill, whether you're hosting a brunch, giving a presentation, or even just navigating the everyday chaos of life.
You're absolutely right. Being prepared allows for flexibility and adaptability, which are crucial when faced with unexpected challenges.
For sure.
It's about minimizing those points of failure,
Right.
creating a buffer so that if one element goes awry,
Yeah.
the entire system doesn't collapse.
And thinking about Liat's other writing,
Yeah.
this idea of preparation seems to resonate with her broader message.
Okay.
In many of her pieces, she explores the importance of planning, organization, and having a clear vision, whether it's for personal projects, creative endeavors, or even just navigating life's transitions. That's a great point.
Yeah.
And it adds another layer to her borekas betrayal story.
Yeah.
It's not just about a cooking mishap.
Right.
It's about a broader philosophy of being prepared and resilient in the face of unexpected challenges.
I like that.
It's a reminder that even when things don't go according to plan,
Yeah.
there are valuable lessons to be learned and opportunities for growth.
I love how you've tied that all together. It makes me even more curious to explore Liat's other work.
Me too.
She seems to have this knack for weaving personal anecdotes with broader insights,
Yeah.
creating these relatable and thought-provoking narratives.
It's a compelling style.
Yeah.
She combines vulnerability, humor, and a genuine passion for sharing her culture and experiences. And her focus on Israeli culture through personal stories is especially fascinating.
You know, speaking of Israeli cuisine,
Yes.
we've been so focused on the borekas
Wow,
that
yeah.
we haven't really delved into the broader culinary landscape.
You're right. Israeli cuisine is incredibly diverse,
Okay.
drawing influences from all over the world,
Mm.
reflecting the country's rich history and multicultural population.
Yeah.
You'll find fresh Mediterranean flavors, Middle Eastern spices and dishes inspired by North Africa, Europe, and beyond.
Wow.
It's a melting pot of flavors, just like the country itself.
Okay, now I'm officially craving a full-on Israeli feast.
I hear ya. And the great thing is,
Yeah.
there's something for everyone in Israeli cuisine.
Oh, good.
You have vibrant salads, hearty stews, flavorful grilled meats, and, of course,
Yeah.
delicious pastries like the infamous borekas.
So for our listeners who are intrigued by Liat's story and
Yeah.
want to explore more of her work,
Yeah.
you can find her Substack publication, The Liat Show, available for free.
It's a great resource.
It's a treasure trove of personal essays, cultural insights, and thought-provoking reflections, all told with her signature blend of humor and vulnerability.
And if you prefer listening to reading,
Yes.
Liat also have a podcast also called The Liat Show,
Okay.
where she shares her stories in her own voice. That's cool, making it even more personal and engaging.
Awesome.
You can find it on Substack, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Patreon.
It's like having a conversation with a friend.
It is.
Getting a glimpse into her world and exploring fascinating topics,
Yeah.
ranging from food and culture to personal growth and creative inspiration.
Absolutely.
And speaking of conversation, this whole deep dive has sparked something in me.
Oh, tell me more.
Well, hearing Liat's story about the borekas' betrayal and
Yeah.
her emphasis on preparation
Right.
has made me realize that I could use a little more of that mise en place mindset in my own life.
Interesting.
I tend to be a bit spontaneous,
Okay.
which can be fun, but it also leads to its fair share of last-minute scrambling
Yeah.
and mini crises.
I think there's a balance to be struck. Spontaneity keeps things exciting,
Right?
but having a solid foundation of planning and preparation can provide a sense of stability and control,
I agree.
allowing you to navigate the unexpected with more grace and confidence.
Exactly. It's like having a safety net knowing that you've got the essentials covered, even if things go a little haywire.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe embracing a bit more preparation will even lead to fewer culinary mishaps in my future.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
And speaking of culinary adventures,
Yes.
I have to say I'm quite curious to try these borekas now.
Me too. I'm feeling inspired to step outside my culinary comfort zone.
Good for you.
And hey, maybe I'll even host a borekas brunch sometime.
Now that's an invitation I wouldn't want to miss.
All right, you're invited.
Just promise me you'll remember the oil on the foil.
Duly noted.
Good.
No borekas betrayals on my watch.
I'm glad to hear it.
But hey, before we get carried away with our own culinary aspirations,
Okay.
I think there's one more important point to highlight from Liat's experience that we haven't fully addressed.
You're right, there is.
It's easy to get caught up in the drama of the mishap, but there's a deeper message about the true essence of hospitality that shines through.
Exactly. Even with the mangled borekas, Liat's friends still enjoyed themselves.
Yeah.
The brunch sparked conversations. And the shared experience, even with its imperfections,
Right.
created a sense of connection.
It's a powerful reminder that sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves to create these flawless experiences that we forget the true meaning of hospitality.
Yes.
It's not about perfection. It's
No.
about creating a welcoming atmosphere where people feel comfortable connecting with each other.
It's about embracing the imperfections,
Yeah.
the unexpected twists and turns, and finding joy in the shared experience.
Right.
Even when things don't go exactly according to plan.
Precisely. And often it's the imperfect moments,
Yeah.
the stories of mishaps and culinary adventures gone awry that create the most lasting memories and the best laughs around the table.
It's those shared stories that connect us, make us human,
Yeah.
and remind us that we're all in this together, navigating the ups and downs of life one delicious bite at a time.
Well said. And perhaps that's the most valuable takeaway from Liat's borekas betrayal.
I think so.
It's a story about embracing imperfection, finding humor in the unexpected,
Yeah.
and remembering that even culinary disasters can be opportunities for connection and growth.
Couldn't agree more.
So tell me, after hearing Liat's story,
Yeah.
what resonates most with you? What's the one thing you'll be thinking about long after this deep dive is over?
What strikes me is the idea that sometimes the most memorable experiences come from those unexpected moments, those deviations from our carefully crafted plans,
Right.
Liat's borekas betrayal, while initially a source of stress and embarrassment,
Yeah.
ultimately becomes a funny anecdote,
Yeah.
a valuable lesson,
Right.
and a reminder that connection and shared laughter can arise even from culinary chaos.
I think you've hit on something really important.
Okay.
It's about shifting our perspective.
Yeah.
Recognizing that those imperfect moments, those mishaps and mistakes
Right.
are not failures.
But opportunities for learning, growth, and connection.
Exactly. And perhaps that's the most profound takeaway from Liat's story.
Okay.
It's not just about borekas or brunch.
Right.
It's about embracing the messy, unpredictable nature of life
Yeah.
and finding beauty and meaning in the unexpected.
It's a reminder that life rarely goes according to plan.
It really doesn't.
And that's okay.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
in those unplanned moments,
Yeah.
those detours and diversions that we often discover the most interesting stories, the most valuable lessons,
Right.
and the deepest connections.
And perhaps those experiences with all their imperfections are what make life truly flavorful.
Beautifully said. And on that note,
Yeah.
we'll leave you with a final thought to chew on.
Okay.
What are your own borekas betrayals?
That's a good one.
Those moments of culinary mishap or unexpected chaos that have shaped your experiences.
Yeah.
How have those moments in retrospect added spice to your life story?
And if you're feeling adventurous,
Yeah.
why not try making borekas yourself? That's a good idea.
You never know. You might just create a memorable culinary story of your own.
Just remember the oil.
The oil.
And be sure to check out the Liat Show on Substack and wherever you get your podcasts for more of her insightful and engaging stories.
Great advice.
Until next time, happy cooking, and may your life be filled with delicious moments, both planned and unplanned.
Bon appetit.
And that's a wrap on this deep dive. So tell me, after hearing Liat's story, what resonates most with you? Like, what's the one thing you'll be thinking about long after this deep dive is over?
Well, what strikes me is the idea that sometimes, like, the most memorable experiences, they come from those unexpected moments.
Right.
Those deviations from our carefully crafted plans.
Yeah.
Liat's Boreka's betrayal, while initially a source of stress and embarrassment, it ultimately becomes a funny anecdote,
Right.
a valuable lesson, and a reminder that connection and shared laughter can arise even from culinary chaos.
I think you've hit on something really important there.
Yep.
It's about shifting our perspective, recognizing that those imperfect moments, those mishaps and mistakes,
Right.
they're not failures, but opportunities for learning, growth, and connection.
Exactly. And perhaps that's the most profound takeaway from Liat's story.
Okay.
It's not just about borekas or brunch.
Right.
It's about embracing the messy, unpredictable nature of life
Yeah.
and finding beauty and meaning in the unexpected.
It's a reminder that life rarely goes according to plan.
It really doesn't.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
It's in those unplanned moments, those detours and diversions, that we often discover the most interesting stories, the most valuable lessons, and the deepest connections.
And perhaps those experiences with all their imperfections are what make life truly flavorful.
Beautifully said. And on that note, we'll leave you with a final thought to chew on.
Okay.
What are your own borekas betrayals?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Those moments of culinary mishap or unexpected chaos that have shaped your experiences?
Yeah.
How have those moments in retrospect added spice to your life's story?
And if you're feeling adventurous, why not try making borekas yourself?
That's a good idea.
You never know. You might just create a memorable culinary story of your own.
Just remember the oil.
The oil.
And be sure to check out the Liat Show on Substack and wherever you get your podcasts for more of her insightful and engaging stories.
Great advice.
Until next time, happy cooking. And may your life be filled with delicious moments, both planned and unplanned.
Bon appetit.
And that's a wrap on this deep dive.